Hi wonderful people, you are highly welcome back to my channel. My name is Akorede Adenike. If this is the first time of you checking on my channel, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell for you to be notified each time I upload new video. In this tutorial today, I would like to teach you how to cut and sew this beautiful slim jacket, and it's very simple to make. Now this is the fabric I'm using for my tutorial today. It's one of the African print which is called Ankara fabric. So I have 1.5 yard of fabric here. You can use up to 2 yards. It depends on your body size. So to know the amount of fabric I'm putting on fold for my tutorial today, I'm going to use the biggest part of my body to calculate my measurement, and the biggest part of my body is hip, which is 42 divided by 4 will give me 10.5. I'm going to add 1 inch seam allowance to it. From here now, I'm cutting the back first because the back is 2 inches longer than the front because it's a jacket. So here now, let me draw a straight line here to serve as my starting point. So this is my starting point now. So from there, I'm going to measure my chest line. This serves as my shoulder line now. So from there, I'm going to measure my chest line, which is half of my round armhole. My round armhole is 18 inches divided by 2 will give me 9 inches plus half inch that I'm going to use it to join it on the shoulder. That will give me 9.5, and I'm going to add extra 2 inches to it. You know, I said my back is going to be longer than the front by 2 inches. So that 9.5 plus 2 inches will give me 11.5, which is here. So from my shoulder line to my bust point is 10 inches plus 2 inches extra. That'll give me 12 inches plus half inch that I'm going to use it to join it on the shoulder. That'll give me 12.5, which is here. So from my shoulder to my waistline, my waist is 17 inches plus 2 inches extra. That will give me 19 inches, and I'm going to add half inch for joining of shoulder. That will give me 19.5, which is here. And my hip line is 23 inches plus 2 inches extra. That hip line also serves as the full length of my jacket. So 23 inches plus 2 inches extra will give me 25 inches plus half inch that I'm going to join the shoulder. I'm going to use to join the shoulder. That will give me 25.5, which is here. And I'm going to add extra 1.5 for my seam allowance at the bottom here. That will make it 27 inches, which is here. So I'm going to extend all the lines. Remember, I'm cutting the back first. So after that, I'm going to use my back to cut the front. Shoulder line, I'm going to input half of my back measurement. My back is 15 inches divided by 2 will give me 7.5 plus half inch seam allowance. That will give me 8 inches, which is here. Neck width from the center back will be 3 inches, while the depth will be 1.5 inches for the back neck. So I'm going to connect it with my curve ruler, which is my pattern master. So to create my shoulder slants, I'm going to come here. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch, then I'm going to slant it from the neckline down to this point. So the measurement on my chest line, I'm going to place quarter of my bust, which is 9.5 plus half inch is here already. So on my waistline, quarter of my waist is 36 inches divided by 4 will give me 9 inches, which is here. And on my hip line, which is the full length of my jacket, I'm going to place quarter of my hip there, which is 10.5, and here. So I'm going to connect it for you to see. So there is it, and to the waistline. So I'm going to add 1 inch for seam allowance to it on my chest line, on my hip line, on my waistline, and on my hip. So I'm going to connect it just like this and like this. So that's just it. To make it curve a little bit at the bottom here, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. So, and I'm going to connect it like this. You can use your curve ruler or your freehand, but I'm going to use my curve ruler for it to be nice for me. So I'm going to cut it out now. So I'll now use it to cut my front. This is my back now. Before cutting my front, I'm going to fold that 2 inches extra that I added to the back. So I'm going to fold it. Make sure you measure it. Just fold it like this and measure it out. Make sure it gets that 2 inches. So I'm going to use pen to hold it down. So I'm going to fold another fabric for my front. This is another fabric for my front, folded into 2. I'm going to place my back on it like this. After folding the shoulder line here, I'm going to place it, let it align on each other, and cut it out exactly. So here is it. I cut it exactly as back here. So I want to make a little adjustment on the front. So by reshaping my armhole for the front, so this is my chest line, and this is my line for the armhole for the back. So here's it. So for me to create my armhole for the front, I'm going to remove my pen that I used to hold this place, and I'm going to place it on it like this to draw out my shoulder slant. So here's my shoulder slant here, and I'm going to mark out my neckline as well. So that's just it. So this is my neckline for the front now. I'm going to measure 4 inches downward for my neck depth for the front. Use my curve roller to connect it just like this. Going to connect it like this. So, and to create armhole for my front part, I'm going to measure from here because I'm going to cut this place off now. So from here I'm going to measure what is here. What is here now is 9 inches. Find the middle of that, which is 4.5. On that point I'm going to come in by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm connecting like this from this point to this point, slightly like this. So and I'm going to place this like this to connect from here to this place, to the armpit, just like this. So this is my front armhole now. This is my front armhole. So I'm going to finish my cutting now. So this is my front now, and this is my back part. As you can see, it's longer than the front, so it's just it. So I'm going to move on to the sleeve now. This is my sleeve now. I'm cutting the two together, so, and I'm making the marking on the wrong side of the fabric. So the length of my sleeve is 16 inches plus 1.5 for seam allowance, because I'm going to use half to join it at the shoulder. So, and I'm going to use 1 to hem the bottom of it, to turn it up with the lining. So here's it here. This is my 17.5 inches. I'm going to connect it together like this with straight line. So I'm going to measure my cap's height out from this line, and to get that is by dividing my bust into 12. So whatever I get there, I'm going to add 0.5 inch to it. So mine is 3.6, which is here. From this line I measure 3.6. so I'm going to connect just like this. And before folding my sleeve, to know the amount of fabric to put on fold for my sleeve, I used my round armhole, which is 18 inches, divided by 2 give me 9 inches. I added 1 inch or 1.5. If you want to add lining, you can make it 1.5 inches, but if you are not adding any lining, make it 1 inch seam allowance to it. Here's it here. This is my 9 inches for the half of my round armhole, and I'm going to add extra 1.5 to it because I'm adding lining to my top. So from there now, I'm going to connect here to this place slantly with my bottom master like this. So I'm going to find half of this line from this point to this point. What I have here now, I'm going to fold into 2 just like this to get the middle of it easily. So from here, I'm going to measure ½ inch like this. So, and I'm going to connect it like this. I'm connecting the back armhole first. This is my back armhole. So use this one like this and use it to finish it up like this. So as for my front armhole, from this point now, I'm going to place my bottom master like this, just to create my front armhole on my sleeve. So I'm going to finish it up like this. So this is my sleeve now. So that's just it. So this is my back armhole, and this is the inner one is my front armhole. So I'm going to place half of my sleeve band here. The sleeve I'm making is 3/4 in length. So what I have here, I'm going to measure it. This is where the 3/4 always be. I'm going to measure what I have here, and what I have there is 11 inches divided by 2 will give me 5.5, which is here. Remember, I added 1.5 on this, and I'm going to add that 1.5 here too. So before connecting my sleeve, now I'm connecting my sleeve with my hip curve ruler. Our sleeve is not that straight, so I'm connecting it with my curve ruler just like this. So this is my seam allowance, so I'm connecting it as well. So as you can see, this is my sleeve now. So I'm going to cut it out for you to see now. I'm cutting the back armhole first, and make sure you get all the measurements right before cutting your fabric, please, to make your job accurate. So this is both sleeve now. I'm going to open it up now for me to cut out my front armhole. So this is my front armhole now. That's just it, and I'm going to notch the center of the 2 sleeves. I'm going to open it up here. I cut the 2 together. So this is my sleeve. I'll go ahead and cut the lining exactly as the fabric now. So when I finish, Now I'm done cutting the lining. This is the back part, and here is the lining for it. I added gum stay to my lining, so I'll go ahead and measure 1 inch upward on my lining and cut it out. This is my lining now. I'm going to measure 1 inch upward. I've measured 1 inch and I've connected it. I'm going to cut it out now at the bottom of my lining. So this is my back part and this is the front part of it. This is the lining for it. I added gum stay to it too. I'm going to measure 1 inch at the down part, cut it off. So after that, I'm going to open the front. This is my front now. I'm going to now open it up at the front here, center front. I'm going to open the lining too. Now this is my front lining. I'm going to cut off that 1 inch at the bottom too, just like this. I'm going to open up the center front of my lining too. So I'll now go ahead and start stitching my jacket now. So I'm going to stitch. This is my front part. So I'll go ahead and place my back on it, just like this. Let me first of all place my back. This is my back now. I'm going to place my front on it. So this is my front on the back now. Let the right side face each other. I'm going to join it with 1/2 inch on the shoulder. Let me use pin to show you how I'm going to do it. So I'm using pin to hold it down, the shoulder. After joining the shoulder, I'm going to pull it. You know, my back is longer than the front. I'll just pull it to meet each other. Make sure the back is aligned, the front is aligned on the back very well, just like this. Make sure the bottom is aligned on each other and the armpit is aligned on each other like this. I'll now go ahead and stitch my side seam after joining the shoulder. I'm going to do the same thing on the lining. So after all that, I'll come and show you what's next. Now I'm done stitching the shoulder and the side seam. So this is the fabric and this is the lining for it. I'm done with the lining too, the shoulder and the side seam. So I'll go ahead and place my lining on the right side of my fabric like this. I'm going to let the right side of the lining face the right side of the fabric, just like this. I'm going to stitch the bottom with 1/2 inch. So when I finish stitching the bottom with 1/2 inch, I'll come and show you what's next. So I'm done stitching the lining and the fabric together at the bottom here. So I'll go ahead and pull up my lining to meet up the fabric on the neckline. So I'm going to stitch the neckline up with 1/2 inch. After stitching the neckline up with 1/2 inch, just like this, I'm going to stitch the front, the center front that is open to, with 1/2 inch. So now I've finished joining the lining to the fabric. I'll finish it up. I'm going to notch the neckline with 1/4 inch. Do not let the notching touch the sewing, please. So after that, I'll now bring it out from the armhole to the right side. So I'll just bring it out from the armhole here to the right side. Now I'm done notching the neckline and I'm bringing it out to the right side. I'll go ahead and give it good press and move on to the sleeve. So here is my sleeve now. This is the lining to my sleeve now. I'm going to measure 1 inch from the bottom here. 1 inch. I'm cutting it off because I'm using my lining to turn my fabric in. So that's why I added this 1 inch to it earlier on, so I'm going to cut it off now, just like this. So after cutting 1 inch from the bottom of my lining, I'll place my fabric like this and place my lining on the right side of it. I'm going to stitch the bottom of it with 1/2 inch. So after stitching the bottom of it with 1/2 inch, I'm going to pull up my lining to meet up with this place and stitch both sides with 1/2 inch too. I'm doing the same thing on the second side. Now here is it. I'm done ironing it. As you can see, it's very nice and beautiful. So this is the front part of it. As you can see, this is the inner part of it. See how neat and beautiful it is. So I'll now go ahead to my sleeve now. So I'll go ahead and place it on each other like this and stitch the side seam, 1 inch side seam. I'm doing the same thing on the second sleeve. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and attach it to the body of my jacket, and we are done. As you can see, this is how the outside the sleeve is. Let me just show you how I'm going to join it. So I'll go ahead and fix it like this. This side will be for this one will be for this side. It will just be like this, and this will be for this side. So after attaching my sleeve, I'm going to show you the finishing look of it. And this is where I'm stopping for today, guys. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel to support my channel. If you have any question pertaining to cutting and sewing, you can join me on my Facebook group, Details to Sewing, created by Akorede Adenike. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Akorede Adenike. Till I see you in my next video, guys. Stay blessed. Bye bye.